What's up, guys? Dub, the O-line guru here. Appreciate it for tapping in with your boy. Just make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. Please subscribe. Football season is here. I got a lot of videos coming up, a lot of breakdowns, a lot of player breakdowns. Hopefully you was able to watch my last video. I have a bunch of videos like that. I also have all 22, a bunch of things coming. So just make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment for me. That's what I need you to do. Now let's go ahead and get to the topic for today. I will be pretty much going over the interview with Jeff Stoutland. He said a lot of things that I had covered in my last video, and also some of the videos I did with Gate City Sports and Laura Brunson. So let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm gonna pull up his interview right here he did with Philadelphia. He said a lot of things that I've been saying for a while now. Just pull this up for you. There we go. And here we go.
What determines the training camp process, whether you, like a guy like Jack, who spent more time on the right side during camp? What determines how much?
Jack played on the left side in training camp.
But most of the time he was on the right.
Correct.
So
Yeah, it's time for Jack to start being like Isaac used to be back in the day where he played. I mean, Isaac, I think in one game played 5 positions. Tight end, tackle, he played them all. I think in the Baltimore game, if you go back and watch that game at Baltimore, I think he played all 5 positions in one game.
Jack to be like that?
And see, that's very important clue right there that he just brought up, being able to play multiple positions, especially on the offensive line. It doesn't matter what level you're on. I don't care if it's Little League, I don't care if it's middle school, high school, NAIA, you playing at Bama or in the professionals, or you playing for Canada, it doesn't matter. You being able to play multiple positions on the offensive line always makes you more valuable to the coach and the team. Always. You want to be able to play multiple positions from tackle to guard and even snap the ball some. That'll definitely give you a higher chance of staying in the rotation and getting yourself on the field. And it also helps out with chemistry tremendously, being able to know what the guy beside you is doing, and so y'all can work together in tandem. And we kind of touched on that a little bit with double teams.
I think Jack's at the point where he could be that kind of player. And if you're not a starter in this league, and to be honest with you, before you ask me the question about Sills, that's the reason. Sills played center at West Virginia. He played tackle. He played guard. He played every position. I didn't know that he could play tackle at that. Like when we put him in there, I was a little bit shy. I was like, wow, this guy can get this done. From watching technique and the way he takes coaching and understands what I'm teaching. So when you could create value for yourself and the organization by being able to play multiple positions, if you're not a starter, you guys know, you've been here. I think 2 years ago, we had 8 offensive linemen go on IR. That's unbelievable. So it's in the back of my head. I'm like, well, we have to make sure we are prepared. We have plan A, plan B, plan C, and we're ready to go. So,
I mean, obviously you don't want Kelsey to get hurt, but what was the benefit of Cam getting those reps?
Oh, to play with the first group, to see what he's capable of doing against our first defense, and to see how he can play against high-level players. That's your only true test. That's the only way you know. And he handled himself unbelievable.
There's a chance that he may not even play all.
I personally think he's the best old lineman in this draft. I said that in my last video, and I've been saying that a few times. I definitely think he has the potential to be a long-standing offensive lineman in the NFL for sure.
Season, despite what we saw on film, how do you handle that?
Well, my job again is to like. So I wanted to really, to be honest with you, Jeff. Here's what I wanted to do. I'm sharing with you. I'm being honest with you. Okay, not that I don't anybody. I wanted him to play some guard. Okay, I couldn't do that because Kelsey was hurt so that took that out. But that's not done yet. You know what I mean? I think you have to play other positions if you're not a starter. Now we're a little behind in that process because my intention was to do some of that. Now I did some of that in the walkthroughs in the indoor when you guys are not like in the preseason. I would jump him in at the guard, and he did some of that in the walkthroughs, but not out there live and all that. Couldn't do it because I can't move someone else in the center when you have that. So I do think that experience for him was irreplaceable. You couldn't.
And see, a lot of us O-line guys was wondering that. We was wondering with Stoutland mix him in some at guard because, you know, as a center, being able to know, well, you have to know what everybody does, period, anyway, as a center, especially even the defense, the secondary, but that's a whole nother conversation. But a lot of the O-line people was wondering would Stoutland get him some reps in there at guard because, you know, Brandon Brooks had retired and a lot of the injuries that we've been having the last few years, just trying to keep everybody as versatile as possible. And he kind of answered that right here, which makes plenty of sense.
Have a chance to see what a guy would be like if he had to be the starter with the first group. That was a good feeling.
Yeah, a big season coming up here for Isaac, coming off the injury, switching sides. How has he handled it all?
Great. I've said this for a long, long time. Isaac is a tremendous player. I think Isaac is the most, he's such an underrated player because of his demeanor. He's quiet. He doesn't say much. But when he speaks in our meeting, and he does speak in our meeting, that's his comfort zone. When he talks about technique and he gets up and he does, players listen. Isaac, he's like on film, guys are like amazed at what he can do. The screen games, the perimeter game, the guy's unbelievable.
Is the versatility, has that helped him with this transition a lot?
I believe so. I see it. He likes to teach too. Now he's like, I see him talking to young players, like even tackles, and he'll say, like, I've heard him say some things that's like incredible. Like the guy is sharp.
And see, I said that on my last video as well. I was saying how you could tell Isaac Sayamalu is a very, very smart player. He can play on both sides of the center. He can play on the left side or the right side. He can play multiple positions. He's more often than not, always in the right place. His technique is always phenomenal. He plays with decent power and speed. He's definitely one of the more underrated offensive linemen on this offensive line and one of the more so underrated offensive linemen in the country as well, or in the NFL. And I've been saying that for a while. And I also hinted at in the last video some of his pros that he had, some of his strong points. He's strong at a lot. Isaac Sayamalu is a fantastic offensive lineman.
Last year, I think Landon was just starting to practice. Mm-hmm. Where is he now compared to maybe when he just started out last year?
Light years. Not even close. Not even the same player. Why, Coach? What do you mean by that? Well, I see a guy playing with low hips. I see a guy who struggled a little bit to change direction, coming off the injury, he's not there yet. But now I see a guy who you watch the Miami stuff. If you guys were at practice, you could see how quickly he was bumping off the twist stunts and how he was redirecting his feet. And to me, that's a different type of player. And I'm really excited. I would say, you didn't ask me this, but if you said to me, who's the most improved player, I would say it was him.
He seems very.
The earth mover, Landon Dickerson, man. I told you, boys, he's going to be healthy this year. Last year was coming off a knee injury from college. You could tell he was trying to come up to speed a little bit, but this year expect a really big year from Landon Dickerson. I also said that in my last video and some of the videos with Gate City Sports and LB Lord Brunson. Expect a really big year from Landon Dickerson. That's a really, really big guy that moves very well. He passes off twists, like he's saying he's passing off twists better, and he moves very, very good for his size. Big guy, big, explosive, powerful guy.
Very self-critical, Landon does. Does he sort of stand out to you in that way relative to the rest of the room?
When you live with moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, your day can be full of...
Sorry about that, guys.
All the great players I've ever coached feel that way. I mean, I can give you examples of every guy I'm coaching right now that have done something. One thing happened yesterday, and the guy was pissed. But that's how good players are. They want it to be perfect. They want it to be the very best. It's not okay to do something, half or make a mental mistake when you know the answer to that.
And that's so important. You have to play fast at offensive line, and you must be decisive. You cannot slow up not one bit, because the time you slow up, the defender will beat you. And if you think too slow, you'll miss your assignment. You must know what to do and trust your instincts. He is so spot on with this.
I think a lot of times the players like this, like you're talking about, that are good players and all, sometimes there's this blink, there's this thing it's talking to you, saying, hey, don't do that, do this. Don't listen to that. Your first instinct, your first knowledge of the play, the concept is the right one. Too many players overthink themselves, and they make a mistake here or they make a mistake there. So my challenge is to make sure I bring that up every once in a while. You know.
Getting back to Cam Jurgens, just like what he gained playing center, while Kelsey was out, and I saw like in one of the games, like he had a block well down the field and everything like that. Does he remind you a lot of Kelsey in that regard, just the way he, his athleticism and everything?
Well, to play the position that he's playing, the center, in our offense, you have to, number one, be able to, you have to have what I call explosive power. You have to be able to displace interior players.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have to be the biggest player.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I definitely hinted on this with Gate City Sports and Laura Brunson as well. Explosion. Jason Kelsey has massive explosion through his hips. He completely just dismantled players. Same thing with Cam Jurgens. He has that same ability. Twitchy guys, very, very, very quick moving, and he gets into that right here.
Some guys are big, but they're not sudden. They're not quick. They're not explosive. So they don't, the quicker, the faster you hit something, the more you move it. And so that's number one. Number two is, can you get into the second level and have production in the screen game without getting juked or run around or something like that?
You guys know I hinted on this in the last video for about a good 2 to 3 minutes to get into the second and third level. Watch what he says about how important it is and how good of a job Jason Kelsey does it, but also Cam Jurgens, but how important it is for all the linemen.
And so I don't think it's ever fair to compare somebody to Jason Kelsey. I don't think that's right. But Cam has those critical factors that you look for to do those things. And so just to give you a little bit more, to specify a little bit better, is his hands are so strong when he gets them onto you. They're strong, real strong. I don't know if that's because he lives on the farm or where he's got.
That is something else that I realized very, very soon watching this film. I watched a couple of his college games while me and Laura Brunson was talking about what I thought and how I thought Cam Jurgens would turn out. And I said one of the things that stood out to me was his explosion, able to move in open space, getting on the second and third level, and his hand strength, his grip strength. His hands are very, very strong, which is very critical for offensive linemen. Once you get your hands on somebody, you got to be able to latch on, hopefully put them through the earth. But let's keep watching.
Got a cow farm? I don't know. I don't know any of that. All I know is the college players you're getting today, it takes, for Jordan Mailata, it took him 2 years to actually know how to use his hands in the way that we're asking him to. It really is a skill. It's something that takes a minute. College guys today, now you get them, they don't get their hands on. If you don't get your hands on people, how can you control yourself in protection? How can you move someone back if you put your hands on their back? How can you push them back? So I can give you a million instances where I show a player and they're like, oh man, I didn't realize that. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that. You see us, when you guys come down there, it's always good to see you guys walk down to the end zone. You got your notebook. Jeff's making, where's the number 50? He's going, I watch you guys. Okay. And so we're in the end zone and I'm over there and we're hitting those double team blocks and stuff, and that's where we're talking about a lot of those things. Like I'm always, where are your hands at? And if you're not in the right place, we're not going to surface blocks properly and we're probably not going to move anybody. So
last one we'll get a Miles.
In Lane's case, he called this the prime of his career. As he said, he's in the prime of his career, Lane, but you don't usually think in year 10. What more is there for him that he hasn't done?
Well, number one, Lane wasn't Lane yet last year. He was coming off that thing and he was fighting through some things. Lane right now, when Lane first came into this, that was my first year in the league when I went out and worked out those players. And I knew we were going to pick. I mean, Miss Laurie's like, hey, look, I know you got to find out which one of these. So I was sold on. I was immediately I was all about Lane Johnson. If I showed you that workout on my phone, it was unbelievable. I still have it because it's like something special for me. It was a young Lane. Okay, at his high school, I did that workout. And so when you looked at him there, he was like 307, 309. The guy's I don't know, 325, 330. He's bigger, he's stronger, but yet he's probably more, he's as quick. He hasn't lost a step now.
Ooh,
So,
one of the best right tackles in the game and one of the best athletes at tackling in the game. I said that in my last video as well. Phenomenal athlete. Phenomenal athlete. I mean, he looks very, very good moving. He runs like a gazelle. Gets to the second level with speed. He's definitely more bulky now. Good ball player.
so I think that's why he's saying that, and I agree with him. I really do. I mean, and I think that Isaac next to him and Isaac, I mean, who has the athleticism who has two guys that are that athletic and that fast and that quick? It's pretty special. I'm fortunate. I'll be honest, as a coach, I'm really fortunate to have the ability to coach the players that we have here. I really am.
We got to get Miles in. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cal.
All righty, guys. As you can see, he hit on a lot of points that I've been hitting on lately. He got into Isaac Seumalo, how smart of a ball player he was and great leader for his locker room. He got into Cam Jurgens' hand strength and the way he moves in open space and gets to the second, third level. I touched on that in the last video. He also spoke about Lane Johnson athleticism and what to expect this year, big things. Also from Lane Johnson and Isaac Seumalo being beside each other, which I believe will probably be one of the best tandems in the NFL on the right side of the ball. So just make sure you guys look out for the Philadelphia Eagles O-line. You see Jeff Stoutland, he's something like a Yoda. He's a Jedi master, you see. So he's so knowledgeable. He's so smart. He's one of the best ever to do it in the game. So I just want you guys to see a breakdown, see what he had to say about it, and see how much I said correlated with what he said. So make sure you guys keep coming to the O-line guru for the best O-line breakdowns, for the best team breakdowns, whatever you need. The O-line guru is here. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I got more videos coming this week. I'll be with Laura Brunson on Wednesday, and I'll be doing a breakdown of the Philly game and some other games. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Dub, the O-line guru, out.